Well, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this edition of the 700 Club. The Greeks have got a story about a guy named Icarus and one named Daedalus. And the story is that one began to get wings and he started flying and he got closer to the sun and the wax on his wings melted and he fell to the ground and died. Well, that's what happens when you get in the White House and you're a general. You're in the rarefied and you're getting close to the sun, and it's easy to get your feathers singed. Well, that happened to Michael Flynn. He's a good guy. He's served our country well, director of Defense Intelligence. He knows what goes on. Apparently, his communications were being hacked, and he knew about it, but he got crosswise by trying to do a little diplomacy on the side with the Russians. And so he's out, and they're looking for a new national security advisor, and there's a general who seems to, an admiral who seems to be the front runner. Here's Wendy.
Yeah, well, there is some good news. The president, his nominee for Secretary of the Treasury has finally been confirmed, and stocks hit new highs again in the Trump rally on Wall Street. Charlene Aaron has the story.
Retired Lieutenant General Joseph Kellogg has been named as President Trump's acting national security advisor after the resignation of Michael Flynn. Flynn says in his resignation letter late Monday that he gave, quote, incomplete information about discussions he had with the Russian ambassador to the U.S. Unfortunately, because of the fast pace of events, I inadvertently briefed the vice president-elect and others with incomplete information regarding my phone calls with the Russian ambassador. I have sincerely apologized to the president and the vice president, and they have accepted my apology. Flynn had originally said there were no discussions of the sanctions slapped on Russia by the Obama administration for election hacking. The current favorite to replace Flynn is retired Navy Vice Admiral Robert Harward, along with possibly former CIA Director David Petraeus. The president was also talking about the economy Monday, the NAFTA trade agreement with Canadian Prime Minister Trudeau. Making fair international trade deals was one of the president's major campaign themes.
We have a very outstanding trade relationship with Canada. We'll be tweaking it. We'll be doing certain things that are going to benefit both of our countries. We're going to work with Mexico. We're going to make it a fair deal for both parties.
And the economy was also an issue as the Senate continues to confirm Trump's cabinet choices at a historically slow pace. Monday night, the Senate finally confirmed his Treasury Secretary nominee, Steve Mnuchin, a former executive at Goldman Sachs, by a vote of 53 to 47, with only one Democrat, West Virginia's Joe Manchin, voting for him. He was then sworn in. Meanwhile, the Trump rally on Wall Street continues, with all the major stock indexes once again hitting record highs, and the Standard & Poor's 500 going over $20 trillion in value. Many analysts believe investors are buying because they like Trump's plans for cutting business and personal taxes and getting rid of heavy government regulations. They believe that's a recipe for a healthier economy and stronger business profits. And that would mean higher stock prices in the future as well. Charlene Aaron, CBN News.
Well, you talk about reaching the heights. They're dizzying heights. Apple. Can you imagine a fruit company named Apple is now worth $700 billion. It's the highest valued stock in Wall Street. And here they are. Google is number 2. Microsoft number 3. Berkshire Hathaway. Can you believe that? Almost $500 billion. Amazon, almost, again, up in the stratosphere. And then Facebook, there at those numbers. And you look at those companies, and almost none of them were here, say, 15 years ago. They're not old-line manufacturing companies. They're all mostly high-tech companies. And the market has just gone nuts. But Apple, it was selling some time ago when it was in the doldrums before Steve Jobs came back. It was about $3 a share. And now look at it. And they've got so much cash, they don't know what to do with it all because of these wonderful products. They keep turning out all these iPads and all this new stuff they're selling. And they're selling millions and millions of them, and they're making a fortune. But my head, that's where the growth driver is. Did you get any of that stock?
I don't own any of those, but should I own those?
Well, it's too late now.
Is it too late now?
Well, in my opinion, because I thought the same thing with Google when it hit $70. I said, man, this is crazy, and now they're up to $400 or $500 a share, and it's just insane. But these companies are so innovative and they're so creative, but it just seems like we've gone away from historic manufacturing. These are not manufacturing companies. You know, they've got a couple of the biggies in there, ExxonMobil, and I believe the bank is JP
What sector
Morgan.
do you favor right now?
I've
Energy?
I've always liked energy. I like gold. I like silver, and I like hard assets or something. But you can get your hand on it. I just haven't understood high tech. And you know, Warren Buffett said the same thing. I don't understand them. I don't buy them. So he buys railroads, and he buys Coca-Cola, and he buys you know, shaving companies that people shave every day. Their beards are going to grow every single day.
That's true. That's something that's never going to go out of style right there.
He sold the razor company. He had Gillette. He sold that. But
I mean, beards might go out of style, but shaving will
never go out of style. That's right. So anyhow, Buffett figured they'd all be drinking Cokes, but he's, I think, out of Coca-Cola now. But that's what he bought, and he's a value investor. After the old Dodd-Frank, method, not Dodd-Frank, but the Dodd-Graham, Graham-Dodd, I'll say it right in a minute. He was a disciple of Benjamin Graham, and he's been a value investor. He's brilliant, and so to see Berkshire Hathaway, and that's an insurance company now. He's got primarily insurance, but he owns a railroad. He owns all this stuff. But it is remarkable where our economy has gone. But it shows that the market is on board with Trump. And by the way, while we're doing it, there's a comedian. The comedian, for some reason, was one of those guys in Minnesota. They like to elect wrestlers and comedians, and they put him in the Senate. So what does he do? He questions the intelligence of the president. Yeah, you should live so long to be that smart. Well, in other news, President Trump will be meeting with another major world leader tomorrow, and that's a big one, the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu. John Jessup has that.
Well, Pat, Trump and Netanyahu know each other already, but this will be their first face-to-face meeting since Trump took office. And as Chris Mitchell reports from Jerusalem, Israel is hoping for a restoration of better ties with Washington.
Iran, Jerusalem, and Israeli settlements will all likely be on the agenda when Netanyahu and Trump meet. But there's an even bigger takeaway.
The alliance between Israel and America has always been extremely strong. It's about to get even stronger. President Trump and I see eye to eye on the dangers emanating from the region, but also on the opportunities.
Relations between Netanyahu and former President Obama were tense during the last 8 years and had a major impact on U.S.-Israeli relations. Now with President Trump, Israel is expecting a restoration of that relationship and a much warmer welcome at the White House.
Well, the Obama administration back in 2009 changed some of the fundamental pillars of the U.S.-Israel relationship. One was no daylight. No daylight meant simply that if we were going to have disagreements with one another, the United States and Israel, and there we are sovereign countries, we will have disagreements, that the two countries would do their utmost to keep those disagreements discreet, behind closed doors. The other major pillar was that was discarded by Obama was the pillar of no surprises.
Deputy Minister for Diplomacy Michael Oren was Israel's ambassador to the U.S. during the first 4 years of the Obama administration.
The hope will be that Prime Minister Netanyahu and President Trump will restore these pillars, and that they may have disagreements, but they'll be kept behind closed doors.
The 2015 Iranian nuclear deal will likely top the agenda.
On the Iran issue, a connection between Iranian behavior and the nuclear deal, and ways in which Israel, the United States, can defend themselves and defend the world from the possibility that in a decade time, Iran will be in the possession of 200 nuclear weapons.
Another issue is moving the U.S. Embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. Trump was initially enthusiastic, but now he's more cautious.
It seems less likely now, but I certainly still hope so. And I think that there are many steps you can make.
The issues of Israeli communities in Judea and Samaria and the Israeli-Palestinian peace process are even more complicated. Oren said he'd like to see the president symbolically rescind the recent UN resolution. that deemed all of Judea and Samaria, including the old city of Jerusalem, as occupied Palestinian territory.
President Trump could come out and say, we do not view these territories as illegally occupied. We don't view them as Palestinian. We view them as disputed territories.
Israelis are waiting to see how Trump's words and promises will translate into action. Chris Mitchell, CBN News, Jerusalem.
Thanks, Chris. Well, this Valentine's Day weekend brought a special event for some very special people. And as Angela Zatopek reports, it all came courtesy of former football star Tim Tebow.
A worldwide event and a prom night like no other. The Tim Tebow Foundation hosts Night to Shine, a prom for kids with special needs, held in 48 states and 7 different countries, all on the same night. Entering on a red carpet, everyone is crowned prom queen or king to kick off the night. The vision? Use Valentine's weekend to celebrate God's love for people with special needs by providing an unforgettable night.
I think it's important because a lot of times they hear no. That is a pretty common word that they hear, not only them, but also their parents. And I think this night is a night for them, a night for them to shine, and a night for them to know that they are loved, that they are accepted just the way they are, and that Jesus made them in his image.
Over 70,000 volunteers work to make this night happen, celebrating so many children, but also their parents.
They care for them 24/7, and we should be caring for the parents as well.
Well, it allows us to help him fulfill a really fine social life.
When you discover you have a child that's not exactly the child you expected to have in life, you have to grieve for that child that you don't have before you can embrace the child you do have. And once you embrace that child and really love it, you understand what a blessing it is to have someone this special in your life.
The night includes face painting, photo booths, and of course, a dance floor is open, where I happen to meet prom queen Michelle.
See, I feel like a regular old person. I feel like a regular old person, not special needs.
She shares her story and how this is the best night of her life.
I got my dream come true.
We hit the prom together, checking out all the stations. Our favorite, the therapy dog section. With so much joy brought to everyone attending, Night to Shine is a beautiful celebration and reminder that we are all special in our own way.
Thank you so much for this opportunity, Tim Tebow. This means the world to me.
From prom night held down in Texas, I'm Angela Zatopek for CBN News.
What a wonderful event, and Pat, a great reminder that we're all fearfully and wonderfully made.
Are indeed. Well, I think Tim Tebow to do that, that is a fantastic. I had no idea the dimension of that thing is just worldwide, and Angela did a good job. So anyhow, I'm proud of them. Wendy.